A very warm and good morning to everyone assembled here. I'm Aaron Samuel Matthew, your host for this day. It's my great pleasure and my foremost duty to welcome you all to this Webonference titled as Diverse Computing, Agro, Socio, Health, Business Revolution. I warmly welcome the galaxy of intellects, excellencies, and invited guests, teacher, and my dear friends. I assure that this program could be full of exuberance and excitement. Let's all look forward to create the memories of intelligence. Music is the strongest form of magic by Merlin Monson. Let's all stand up in our places for our Kodaikanal Christian College anthem.
You have blessed us with KCC. We shall ever sing for joy as proud students of KCC. In my clouds we are perched above on paradises and at KCC. Want to be a class above to enrich and edify us. Want to lead, we are born to lead. Yes, born to lead, we are born to lead. Wisdom and knowledge in KCC. East, west, south, or north, BD. KCC finds us one family. Never to be served, but ever to serve. Brilliant white clouds, we are perched above on paradises and in KCC. Want to be a class above to enrich and edify us. Want to lead, we are born to lead. Want to lead, we are born to lead. Rejoice, rejoice, we are born to lead.
Thank you, choir, for singing a beautiful college anthem. D.L. Moody once said, "Every great movement of God can be traced to a kneeling figure." Before we move ahead, let's all look to the Lord Almighty who made this event possible in prayer. I request our chaplain, Steve Babu Matthew Sir, to kindly lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this wonderful occasion, for this time that we have come together from different parts of India and from abroad, Lord. I thank you, Father, for this day. I thank you for this Webonference. I pray that all those who have joined will all be touched. I pray that all of us will be able to gather, be able to learn new ideas as we're going forward with this, as we're getting adapted to this new normal. Computers is the way forward. And I pray, Lord, that you help all of us to be able to learn and to be sparked from today's ideas. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Sir, for that blessed prayer. Now our choir will sing a beautiful song.
Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see. Beauty that makes the stars adore you. Hope of the life spent in you. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, so highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth to create, all for love's sake became poor. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me.
Thank you, choir, for that melodious song. Now I request Mr. Jobin Monsi to take over as the host of this program.
Good morning, everyone. As my co-host mentioned, my name is Jobin Monsi and I'll be your host for this event. On behalf of the management here at Kodaikanal Christian College, I'd like to welcome you all once again to our annual Webonference 2020. Now, for the welcome speech, I'd like to introduce you to the person that has been the driving force behind this all, Dr. Sam Abraham, our chairman and the principal of Kodaikanal Christian College. He has always strived to bring out the best in each and every one of us. And without his vision, this event would not have been possible. So now, to give the welcome speech, I'd like to call upon Dr. Sam Abraham.
Good morning, everyone. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. I thank God for this beautiful morning. Without him, this is not possible. And with him, all things are possible. I stand before you all to welcome one and all, having joined us across the country and even outside the country. What a time and season we have come into. This was not possible Even in our minds, we were not even thinking in this. But today it's become possible. Today it has become real to us. Before I welcome one and all, I've been giving a few points. I would like to continue. Some of our students have been listening over and over again, but others, I would like you to listen to the few points that I have to share before I go into the welcoming. Success is not a chance. It doesn't fall from the sky. I want you all to know that if you want to look for success in your life, there's nothing that you cannot achieve if you're willing to work for it. So I want all of you who are newly joining today, I want you to take a note of it, and I want you to start working towards your success. Responsibility for your life is in you. Take control of your life, then everything will fall in place. Be grateful for everything that you have. I am so grateful that I'm standing before just a few in the hall physically, but I'm standing in front of hundreds and thousands in front of people. Yesterday's was 1K for the YouTube and 500 plus in the Zoom. So I'm grateful for this. Follow your own path. Don't give excuses. Don't blame anything or others. Live with integrity, and integrity will lead you to have no fear. And when you have no fear, you will do the right things. Give all, give your everything. Nothing great comes to those who give less than everything. If you give less than everything that you have, nothing great will happen to your life. I said yesterday, don't chase money, chase after your purpose. If you chase after money, money will definitely run faster than you. You will not reach there. But if you run for your purpose, everything will follow you. There's no such thing as failure. If you don't learn from the failure, there is no failure at all. You will not fail if you start learning from the failure. The failure, again, is not the end of story. It's so sad to hear about the suicidal end that people are taking. That is not the story. I want all of you to encourage youngsters, others. Failure is never the end of story. The result is always, end result is always worth the sacrifice. You know, I have gone all over the world to see the KCCians, to see how they are doing. Not to promote KCC, just to see, because I have shared my life with them and they have been taken as family members, and I've been so grateful for what the Lord has done. When I came back, I said, the fruit of the labor is worth everything. So that is what it is. Patience is power. Don't do any shortcuts. Don't take quick ways in life. Be patient. Your result will come to you. Nothing worthwhile in life comes easy. You have to work for it. You have to get prepared to work for it. Nothing that happened in the past can stop you from creating a new future. Nothing in the past can hold you. If you start focusing now and start working, you will create a better tomorrow. It's never late to be great or to become great. If you start today, make up your mind and start working to yourself. Start working to yourself. You will become great one day. Great don't equate with anybody in this world. The greatness you don't measure with money, power, position, nothing. You become, you will be the greatest thing that God has created. God says very clearly that you are a masterpiece in his hand. You're fearfully and wonderfully made is what God has said. So you have a purpose. You have a unique purpose. You're not one among the crowd. You're one of a kind. I want all of you to take note of that one and start working towards that. Even if you have to start walking alone to reach your purpose, don't expect crowd to come. When you start getting success, people will be jealous. People will be coming against you. People will gossip. Don't bother. Dust it off and start walking. Even if you have to walk alone to reach your goal. Habits make you or break you. I want to repeat, habits make you or break you. Check yourself. What habits? Is there anything that is holding you backwards? Change it. It's worth taking that corrective measure. Start thinking or looking for better habits, good habits, so that you will reach your goal, you'll reach your purpose. Fear is an illusion. It's in the mind. It has no place out of your mind, out of your imagination. Fear is just an imagination that comes, and out of that mind, from your mind, if it goes out, there is no place for that fear. I want you to take your life seriously, fearlessly. You will reach great place. Without direction, you will end up in the wrong place. Yeah, with people with no vision will perish, is what the word says. So I want you to take a hold of your life and look for a direction. You will end up in the right place. If you have to reach one destination, you know what to do. You know where to go. So take your life direction and start working. No one will believe in you unless you believe in yourself. No one will believe. I want all of you to believe in yourself first, and then you will start seeing progress. When you start seeing progress, you will start believing in you. When you start believing in you, you will see growth. You will see confidence. You will see achievements. You will develop. Everyone should consciously start working towards progress, and belief will come, belief will grow, belief in you. Yes, you can. In KCC, many people come with all kinds of impressions of themselves. They come, I'm not tall, I'm not this thing, I don't have curly hair, I'm a failure, they come with a lot of impressions, but they go with one. I'm born to lead is what they go with. That's the KCCN motto. By the way, Professor Subha came this morning and told me, sir, there has not been any other place where I see Webonference. Few days ago itself, Professor Manas told, sir, webinars are a mushroom, but there are no Webonference or conference like this nature anywhere in happening. Some of my students will say that I'm boasting, but I am celebrating it. Yes, I am here to welcome one and all. Actually, the technology has become part of being. God created us as human beings, but we have adapted into a different being that without this, it's not happening. I traveled all the way to Kashmir and across from Gujarat to West Bengal by road, thanks to Google Achayan that could take me with the map. I didn't have to ask anywhere, how do I reach there? Just put in Google, it could. Google Chichi will tell you if you're wrong. If you're taking the wrong path, it'll say recalculating and take me to the destination. We have come into that level, but the future, I'm seeing in every way. I believe in Israel. The plants are tested by technology. What is the humidity? What is the amount of water that needs to be sprayed? And accordingly, each plant gets different amount. They have 100th water what we have, and they cultivate much more. In 1 acre of land, they produce more than 7 times to 8 times of produce that we produce, all because of technology. You name it, everything. In our days, I had to go travel, walk to the bus station to get the ticket or train. I had to go to Chennai from Kodaikanal to get my first air ticket. I had to go all the way to Chennai. But now you sit at home, in your bed, under your blanket, you are able to get your tickets done. Technology has come into the being. There's also negative side to it. Without technology, it's not possible now. Men are always watching news. One regional languages, all the languages they know, and then they go to the English, and then they go to the international one, and they still have WhatsApp group for the news. This morning I was taking a walk. I saw a couple walking, and the man was having his phone like this. For a long distance, he was watching like this and going. And the wife was walking like this. I went past and I couldn't resist. I said, excuse me, put that phone down. Start talking. It will be helpful. It's very healthy. I couldn't resist. There are negative, but there are so many positive. So I'd like to go on to the welcoming now. I have such a great honor to welcome Mr. Senthilnathan. You know, today's topic, revolution coming. I am sensing a revolution with technology coming. And this gentleman is the apt person to share this thought. You know, from Agro, Socio, business, health, revolution, diverse computing, revolution coming. I can't fathom, but I see you, each one of you, to be the creator of that revolution happening. Not warring, not fighting against the revolution. Change is coming, taking the human to an even advanced level. So, Mr. Senthilnathan, an industrialist, exporter, technology-based agro industries, oil extract, you see the foods, you name it, he's there. He's a graduate in engineering from College of Engineering, Guindy, and an MS from University of California, Berkeley. I tell you, many people dream for reaching there. He's been there in the early 2000s, and he graduated in MS in technology. And he has come and taken over all the business that the family had and converted that into a masterpiece with the help of technology. And the best part, I like it, is he's got hundreds of acres in agriculture, and that is what he is interested in, showing interest. So he's got all around personality, technology, business, economics, as well as agriculture. And I believe he's into education too. Who else can be a better challenge for each one of us today? I welcome Mr. Senthilnathan from all our hearts to this Webonference. I also welcome all the participants, all the ones who are giving their best to present papers and participating. Spread it around. You are in the right time, in the right season, that you're going to make the difference in the world, and the world is waiting for you. And KCCians, tomorrow is off for you. Take a break. We will meet on Monday. With that, I welcome one and all for having a great time. Let's celebrate the future holds, and you are the creator. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words of encouragement. Now, with these inspiring words, we now move on to our main event. Now, I'd like to call upon Professor Manas, who is the convener of this web conference, to introduce you all to our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Jobin, for inviting me to the screen. Thank you, Chairman, sir, for your thunderous welcome address. It was really inspiring. Now, once again, on behalf of Korean Christian College, I welcome all the participants who are giving us time from different parts of this country, different parts of the world. We really congratulate for your commitment. I'm here to introduce you the keynote speaker of today. Before I introduce you, I want to give a disclaimer. Mr. R. Senthilnathan, sir, his achievement and the accolades he has received, if I start listing them one by one, I will take the whole session. I do not have the energy for that, and I think you do not have the time for that. So I will just say, in a gist, I will summarize his profile. Let's hear. Domains of technology is revolutionized by visionaries who are not after profit or after personal glory, but they thrive with an indomitable passion to change how the things work. Our keynote speaker of the day is such a personality. He is Mr. R. Senthilnathan. He finished his graduation from College of Engineering, Guindy, one of the prominent technical institutions of India, in 2000. After that, he rejected opportunity in the high-paying corporate sector. Neither did he join his highly successful family business. Instead, he went on to pursue masters to University of California, Berkeley. Many amongst us will know that UC Berkeley is the Ivy League University of United States. Millions across globe apply and dream of studying there in this temple of excellence. He finished his masters again with flying colors in 2002, and then he looked inward to his motherland with an aim to utilize his experience and knowledge and improve the countryside of India. because the soul of India lives in its villages, as well said by Mahatma Gandhi. Atmanirbhar Bharat or Make in India are the buzzwords today, but Mr. Senthilnathan has been incorporating it for last 20 years. Then what he has done, what he has achieved is a lore of history. He is a pioneer in multiple technology implementation in India, manufacturing of heavy equipment, high pressure industrial boiler, agro processing, rice oil extraction, cedar foods, you name it, he has done it all. The company has crossed over traditional arena of agriculture and now is focusing on bringing IT to farming sector. He has now made endeavor in the field of commodity trading and education. This forays of the company, led by Mr. Senthilnathan, has changed how the industry work, also changing the way technology is adopted in rural India. So today when we are talking about multidisciplinary approach of technology, specifically digital technology, I cannot think of any other industry luminary better than Mr. R. Senthilnathan, Managing Director of Revo Industry. So before I welcome sir for his keynote speech, I want to share information with all the participants. The chat box will be muted during his speech. Once you keep ready your question typed, once his speech is over, it will be on. We are doing this to reduce the distraction. I hope everyone will take it in a good spirit. So now I welcome our keynote speaker of the day, Mr. R. Senthilnathan sir, to give his keynote address. Please, sir.
Thanks, Professor Manas. Thank you for the nice introduction and inviting me for the web conference on diverse computing, Agro, Socio, Health, Business Revolution. The topic itself is quite vast, and I'm surprised what triggered the interest in seeing this connection. I think it is also well timed for the post-COVID world. I also extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Sam Abraham, Chairman and Principal, Kodaikanal Christian College, Vice Principal Dr. Vijaya Raghunathan, Associate Professor Dr. Abe Thomas, Convener Professor Manas, Department of Computer Science and Information Technology, for giving me this opportunity to address this large and aspiring audience. And also I would like to thank all the department heads, faculty, students, and participants for making a presence today. I hope my voice is very clear and I can continue on. Okay, good. So basically, I've divided my speech into 3 parts. Screen sharing. I hope, can all of you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so basically I've divided my speech into 3 parts, which is, okay, which is basically, I'll be narrating my story, my own personal story, my journey journey from how I started and where I'm today. And then the topic for today's discussion, which is basically an age of massive disruption that is already happening. So basically, who am I? So I'm basically, I grew up in Trichy, and I see a couple of people from Trichy also participating in today's event. And it's very nice to see people from across India taking part in today's event. So it's nice to be here. And I also see a very diverse set of people from agriculture to hotel management to business management, and a very diverse set of audience today. I hope I make justice to all of you. So it's going to be a very simple story, but I also want to all of you to pay attention to the details. I want all of you to see the pattern that has happened in my journey, so that if so that something can be inferred from those patterns, which you can try to replicate. So I will I'll start with my personal journey. I grew up in Trichy. I went to school here, which is basically Christian school. It's called Campion Higher Secondary School. So I was a very studious student. I used to be one of the top fives. And as I completed my 12th grade, and I wanted to take, I have to pursue my bachelor's degree. Obviously, engineering was the only choice at that point of time. Say it was in 96. So when I was looking for different choice, and I was also the last batch, which didn't have a open counseling method. So what we used to have is we used to submit applications to for engineering college, and then the people who have applied for medicine as well as engineering will get enrolled in all the colleges, and once the seats become vacant, that's when the people in the next will be called for. So I got an admission somewhere in near Madurai, which is basically Tyagarajan Engineering College. And then as all those vacancies, I got moved to RAC Trichy, and then I got moved to College of Engineering Gindi. I've always been very conscious. I always dreamt of being a businessman. Someday I wanted to be a businessman. So I thought engineering doesn't matter. So basically, I have to be a businessman. Engineering is only a step in my path. I have to. So my goal was to get my engineering completed, and then go to US, do a master's in business administration in one of the top institutions, and then potentially come back to India. So that was the initial dream that I had. So I stepped into college. As I joined college, I also realized one of the things. Being a very studious school student, I was not very versatile in all extracurricular activities. So I used to, I'm a very bookish, and so that's how I've always been. So I decided that I'm not going to be that way. So I'm going to venture into, I'm going to try out different things. So I thought I should participate in cultural activities, in social activities, and all these things, so that I grow as a person. So I started engaging in multiple different activities. I'm sure every department, every school or every college has got an association for each of the departments. Say computer science engineering, they have an association for a student association. So I was a very active member of a student association, and I used to organize a lot of lectures. I used to bring people from government agencies. I used to call experts from different fields of interest, and then I used to conduct programs for our peers as well as for juniors. Because I basically joined College of Engineering India, which is basically a government college, and government college doesn't organize anything for you. So it's basically the students who have to drive everything, including placement. So we have to organize events for ourselves, and then we also have to organize, collaborate with the placement center for getting jobs. So this was in the college, say probably in the second year or third year. So I was very active participant in the Society of Civil Engineers. Basically, I'm a civil engineering graduate, and so I was organizing a lot of events, and I started growing up my leadership skills. And I also ventured into a lot of cultural events, which I'm not used to. And I got a lot of humiliation for that also. Even though when some of our friends meet, I'm often humiliated for the fiasco that has happened because of my cultural stunt. So I was getting actively involved in cultural activities, and then I was also getting actively involved in engineering, the department organization, department association, for the welfare of the students and the juniors. And then once I reached third year, I decided I should I have to start on my dream, which is basically to pursue an MBA from the US. So I started preparing for GRE and TOEFL and all the stuff. So I had to move out of the hostel, because hostel is a very tough place to be focused. Because at a time you will see 10 or 15 people sitting inside your room, and there is hardly any space for you to read. So I decided I will take an apartment just close by, and I started preparing for my exams, GRE and TOEFL. So I finished my GRE and TOEFL. I got a good score, and then by the time I was finishing my third year and getting into fourth year, so by the time I also started feeling that I have to give back something to my college, because this is the place which has groomed me, which has grown me, which gave me a good set of friends, good set of faculties. So I have to do something for this, give back to this college, being a government college. So what I, along with a few other friends, what we decided is we will do something. So what should we do? So basically, since it's a government college, there is hardly any maintenance. I'll show you one picture of my college. It's actually my college premises. It was, I mean, it was not well maintained. It was not green also. So we decided, along with a few of our other friends, we decided that we should clean up the college. So we should bring out all the dustbins to the roadsides so that the college atmosphere is maintained clean. And also what we did is I, along with a few other friends, we got engaged with an architecture department. And we said, let's rope in some alumni of College of Engineering, Guindy, and develop a landscape plan for the university. So what we did is we hired that, we got connected to one of the landscape architects, and we developed a plan for the college, for the university. And we went to the vice chancellor and said, see, this is how the college is, and we want this college to be like this. So this is our roadmap for maintaining this university, for making this university a better place for students to learn. And he was thoroughly impressed. The internal magazines all started publishing faces of ours, showing that some guys taking some initiative to keep the campus clean and green and all this stuff. So this is basically our effort to give back something to the college where we grew up. So and then I completed my college, and then I started sending applications for universities in the US. What happened is basically I'm not one of the top tiers in the college. I mean, there were people with the CGPA of 9.1 or 9.5, and I was hardly in the middle. So always any class for that matter, any school, college for that matter, there is always one set of people who are very focused on their career or profession, the front benchers, and then there are last benchers who hardly care, give any concern or giving any care for the thing. So we are basically a set of people who are stuck in between, who are sandwiched between the front benchers and the last benchers. We are like a bridge between the two. So I started sending applications to US universities, and unlike my other folks who had a CGPA of 9.1 or 9.2, I was selected for. I was given an admission to University of California, Berkeley. That was a surprise to even me. Because I was not the top tier, but something has shown interest. Something in my profile has interested the admission committee, and I was offered an admission with a scholarship. So I decided to take up this. I had a couple of other admissions also, but UC Berkeley was the best. So UC Berkeley, like Stanford or MIT, UC Berkeley was one of the top 3. So I decided to take up this admission, and then I flew from here to San Francisco. And as my aeroplane was closer to landing, the second picture that you see here, the second picture, can you see the picture here? The second picture that you see here, the flyovers, this is the view that I saw from the aeroplane. I'm looking at the window and I'm seeing this kind of an image. I grew up in a city and in a college like this, and I'm getting landed in a place like this. This was mind-blowing. I was really awestruck. I mean, a lot of questions started coming to my mind. I was asking question: what made this country so great? How did they build this kind of a country? What is the underlying principles or underlying fundamentals which basically generated this kind of a wealth for them to create this kind of a place? I mean, it is not just one place. It is the entire country is like this. So this is the first set of questions that came to my mind when I'm looking at the window. So the aeroplane landed, and then there were folks who took care of me to the college, and then I got admitted and all this stuff. And then my college life started. So my college is basically a 2-year program. My post-graduation, which is basically Masters in Transportation Engineering, is a 2 years program. So basically, I'm saying all this story for you to understand the patterns in each of my journey. there are certain patterns which I want you to understand and appreciate at the end of the session. There is also a connection with what Dr. Sam said and what I am also saying. There's a connection which I want you to understand. So I think the pace is okay. The pace is okay. I'm all going good. Okay. So I landed up in the university, and it was a very tough environment. I had a very tough boss. My professor was extremely tough because he's an MIT graduate. So he's an intellect. He's a real intellect. So I had a very tough time managing him and satisfying him. And then once I completed college, and I took up a job in a city called Phoenix, which is basically a neighboring state of California, which is Arizona. I took up a job, and people were all celebrating me because I'm from UC Berkeley. People were all appreciating and celebrating me, and they were looking up at me. The job was so easy because I've been working in a very tough environment with my professor, with the MIT professor. I had a very tough time, sleepless nights. And here I'm taking up a job where it is so simple, and I'm being celebrated for the simple work that I do. So from 2003 to 2005, I was having a good time. I was making lots of improvement within the company in the technical side, because I'm a transportation engineering. We basically design these kinds of highways. What you see in the picture, that's what I ended up doing. I was designing interstate highways. I was designing roads, I was designing for roads which are to be built for the next 25-30 years. I was designing airports, and I was designing a lot of other stuff, a lot of interesting stuff. In fact, I was designing a city itself, a city which was a newly built city on 3,000 hectares. Various different kinds of projects which were very interesting. So 2005, but the question in me was still the same. From my college education until the completion of my until I started working, in my mind is, what made this country great? What triggered this country to create this kind of a fundamental, and what helped them to build this kind of an infrastructure? So this is the question that I'm looking for. So I'm searching for answers. I started reading books on economics every free time. I strictly abide by the time. I mean, say if I start at 8 o'clock, I close at 5 o'clock, and after 5, I sit in the library or in the coffee shop reading books on economics or business or management to understand what is behind all this. So that's when I started getting interest in economics. I was reading a lot of stuff on capitalism, business management, and all this stuff. So that's when I decided, okay, it's basically the business, it's basically trade, it's basically the industry which has created this wealth. So I started giving a lot of faith in business and industry, because it is the industry or business or trade that is creating a change in this country. So I decided I have to do something back to my country. So when we had a very thriving business in India, which is basically a family business in rice oil extraction and various other industries. So as I was interacting with my father, he said, so you're all the time thinking about business, or you're all the time thinking about India. So why don't you just come back and start working with me and start building this business? So that was a trigger. This happened sometime in December 2004. So the beginning of 2004, beginning of December 2004, we had this serious discussion on coming back to India. Whereas I had dreamed to pursue an MBA from the top school. So I thought, I'm becoming impatient every day. I want to do something today. I cannot wait for another 3 days, another 3 years. So I want, what can I do today so that I don't miss the opportunity? So that was the question in my mind. So start of December, I decided that I'm going back to India. So I submitted my resignation letter to the company, and they were taken aback because they never expected that I'm going to leave. Because anyone from India, I don't think anyone will come back so easily. So I submitted my resignation, and it was accepted. And January 10th, 2005, I was back to India. So I took as I came here, I started joining the family business, and more than I mean, when you go from India to US, there is a cultural shock of say 1 year. But when you come back from US to India, there is a cultural shock for another 5 years. So that is the impact that it has on you. So I started working on the business because everything happens as per plan in India, whereas in the US, whereas here it doesn't happen as per plan. So when I came back, you see the picture here, the third picture. It is not me. It is not me, but it is just to show my emotion. There was a kind of anger that I was having because things were not rosy. The business was not doing great. And I'm new to business. I don't know anything about business. I don't know anything about management. I'm a civil engineer, basically, a transportation designer. And now coming back and doing coming back to a family business, which is basically into 3 different verticals. One is oil extraction, which is basically a chemical industry. And then we had an agriculture holding of say 110 acres, where I have no clue what it is. And then the third thing is the industrial boiler, which is basically heavy engineering manufacture, heavy engineering fabrication, which I have no idea. And even in my younger days, I never had an opportunity to go to the industry or sit in the business or something. I never got that exposure. So things were all pretty new, and it was a very challenging time. The problems were many. Being a newcomer, I was challenged with the competitors. There was a lot of data theft that was happening. All the processes were manual. All the records were all handwritten, and there was no database of the customers. There was no database of the suppliers. All of it was in the diaries of my employees, and the company had no credible asset. And the business was leaking. The business was literally, it was a bloodshed. And every day was a firefighting scenario. So that's when I decided, okay, this is not the way to run a business. I'm not the kind of person who can manage all this like this. So I thought, okay, we have to do an automation. We have to digitize all the process and convert them into an ERP based system, so that the business secrecy is maintained. The data is not lost. People don't rob our suppliers or customers. So I decided to build an ERP. So I assembled a team, and then we started developing the software for internal business process management. So slowly, and then every day we are making improvements, and gradually, as I started sometime in 2005. By 2007 and 2008, it started getting mature. I mean, the entire process automation was computerized. All the data, I mean, even the decisions today, even the decisions we make today are all made with the computer or made with the software. So that kind of a data intelligence, that kind of what we call as data and analytics or artificial intelligence is all gradually built into the software. So now our employees know which customer we have to sell, which supplier I have to buy, what I have to buy, what I should not buy, what I have to sell, what I should not sell. So all this kind of data is now interpreted and given back to the people who are going to make decisions. And that started showing a lot of results. Gradually, so once all this is done, I started empowering that authority to my colleagues, and I withdrew from that day-to-day operations of the business. And then the next, so that's how the oil extraction business, which is basically rice oil extraction, that's our parent business, started growing. So there were quite a lot of challenges, but slowly we started closing one by one. And we also, as Dr. Sam said, we also had an agricultural holding of say 110 acres or something, so which was bought sometime in 1994 for an industrial application, and gradually it was converted into a coconut farm. So that's a fourth picture that you see here. Sorry, the fourth picture that you see here is the coconut farm. So the coconut farm is basically even in the coconut farm, what we did is we completely digitized every X, Y, Z coordinates of the trees are digitized. We had a map, digital map of each and every tree plotted on a software. And all the yield data is actually fed into the system. And at the end of the year, we make an analysis of what are the good yielding trees, what are the bad yielding trees, what are the trees which are okay trees. And then we select all the bad trees and then go back to the ground and make a verification of why this is not yielding fruit or a nut. And then we take a decision whether to hold them or to remove them. So we had close to 6,500 trees. So all of them are plotted on a map. And then we will try to find out patterns of why that particular tree is not yielding. So we started with say 100 nuts per tree. When I came back from when I started managing that agricultural farm, we used to get 100 nuts per tree, say 6,500 trees. And with the digitization, what I did is I removed all the unwanted trees. Our average started going up. And then what we did is we changed all the irrigation method. We had a tap, every tree had a tap. This tap was irrigating the tree. So we changed that into a pigtail. And then every tree was given fertilizer once a year. I changed it to once in 3 months. And then I changed it to once a month. And then I changed it to once a week. Once a week in terms of mixing up with the fertigation. I'm sure the agricultural graduates would appreciate. We mixed it up in the water, and then we started pumping. So our yield started going up from 100 nuts per tree. Our yield started going up to 225 nuts per tree. So I also brought in experts from different institutions. I mean, from Tamil Nadu Agricultural University or Coconut Development Board, I brought in experts or faculty members. And I showed them all this data and said, what can we do better? Is there anything that, is there any suggestions that you have which can improve this yield of the tree? Because the maximum the tree can yield is 275, and I want to reach 275. What should I do so that this tree yields 275? And they were laughing at me and saying, poor fellow, the state average is 40, and you are doing 225, 225 or 200 at the time. That itself is great. So why don't you just continue what you're doing, and instead of wanting more? So I was not still satisfied. So I started reading a lot of books, and I was looking for literature, and finally I came up with something called as ideal soil health. So ideal soil health is basically there is a soil which is very perfect, which is high yielding. You do a testing of all the soil parameters, and then find out, do a testing of your soil. The difference is the gap. How do you bridge that gap? So that is the fertilization program. So I started applying that technique, and we changed the entire fertilizer program. And the trees started doing very well. But there is always a challenge in agriculture, because when there is yield, when there is a very good bumper crop, bumper harvest, you don't get a good price. When there is a good price, there is no harvest. So that is always the dilemma in agriculture. So in spite of all my efforts, and in spite of all my technical ability to improve the output, it was not showing in terms of financial gain. We are still not making enough money. We are still not profitable. So that's when my father said, you've been trying to do a lot of things, but this is not working, my son. So we have to let this go. It is time we sell this agricultural land and just focus on the industry and business. But I was kind of not ready for it, because I've done a lot of effort. I've done a lot of R&D. I'm always working like a research lab in the farm. We have all kinds of data, starting from rainfall, wind, what is the wind direction and wind flow that we have, what is the yield that we're getting every tree. So all these kinds of data are maintained. And as I'm doing all this analysis, then comes 2011. So that's this happened sometime in 2008. So my father said, my son, you're wasting a lot of time in agriculture instead of focusing on business or industry. So I think we have to sell this property away. I disagreed with them and I said, I've done a lot of efforts, so give me some more time. We will try to do something. We'll try to make it profitable. So he said, today is 2008. You have until 2011, 3 years. 3 years is the time that we can have. If the farm doesn't become profitable by 2011, you should not stop me from selling. So this is the condition that this condition agreement that we had. So so what I started doing is, by the time I realized that only coconut is not enough, so I have to intercrop with some other also. So I brought in cocoa. Cocoa is what cocoa beans. Cocoa beans is used to make chocolate. So he planted a lot of cocoa trees. So basically 15,000 trees or something I planted in between the coconut trees, and they started growing up. And in another 3 years, after 3 years time, they started giving in results. So 2000, there was another major event which really shocked me, which is basically the rainfall we got in 2011 was 40% of our normal. So normal rainfall in Tamil Nadu is say 110 centimeters, 100 to 110 centimeters. In 2011, we received only 40 centimeters of rainfall, which was a shocker to me. I didn't know what to do, because my trees are going to die or going to fail, or the yield is going to drop. I've given a promise and commitment that I'm going to make this farm profitable, whereas the rainfall is failing me. Due to lack of rainfall, my farm is going to get into a financial disaster. So that's when that was a big realization that all my efforts are going waste. So what can I do for it? So there was another kind of search that I started asking. I have to save this farm somehow. I don't want to be sold because of this problem of books. And then just then I also bounced upon a book called One Star Revolution by Masanobu Fukuoka. I'm sure some of you would have read it. It is a very inspiring book. And I also happened to go to a place called Krishnagiri. There was a center called there's a trust in a center called something Navabhumi or something. So there I saw whatever that was there in the One Star Revolution book, that was there in front of my eyes. It was visible. So that's when I understood what natural farming is. So I took that model, and then I also got connected to a few other consultants who are expert in this field, and I started changing this farm into a food forest. Food forest is basically an edible food forest. So what we had is only one layer of crop, which is basically coconut. We started building multiple layers of crop. So basically from the creepers, from the crawlers, from the shrubs, from the timber trees. So all this we started planting layer by layer. Layer by layer we started planting, and they all started growing up. So we didn't have. I also realized that any plantation for that matter is going to give you only one set of revenue. So I need 10 sets of revenue so that my farm becomes profitable. So I converted this farm into a food forest. We started this effort in 2012. After this 2011 incident, I started converting this. I took this exercise to convert this into a food forest. And since that day, we have never incurred a loss. We have always been profitable. So what happened is when my cost of cultivation was say 10 rupees per coconut, and my sale price was 10 rupees per coconut, I was hardly making any profit. If I'm able to bring my cost of cultivation from 10 to 0, it doesn't matter whether the coconut is sold for 3 rupees or 5 rupees. I will still be making profit. So that is the model that we eventually went into. And since then we were always very profitable. So this happened from 2012 to 17. So our rice oil extraction plant was all growing up well. They were all empowered. My managers were empowered to take decisions because all of them are automated and computerized. And now my farm was also started doing well because we have converted from farm into a food forest. There are multiple layers of crop. It is a forest by itself. So there is the forest is mature when there is no sunlight falling on the ground. So that is a kind of, so what we do every day is we don't do weeding, we don't do we don't do anything basically. It's basically do nothing farming. All that we do every day is we plant seeds and we harvest the produce. Only the two activities that we started doing, and we were tremendously profitable. So the third major incident that also shocked me was so basically when I was running the rice oil extraction plant, and when I was managing the farm, I was a very angry young man because the industry is basically causing pollution, which this farm is not, which is affecting this agriculture, and my agriculture is doomed because of this industry. So I had a lot of hatred and anger against the industry. So I saw that the industry is causing the agriculture to fail, and the agriculture is in turn causing a damage to the industry because the yield is dropping, and my industry is also suffering. There is a bondage that I saw between the industry and the agriculture. And then by 2013 or something, I started stepping into the other business, which is basically manufacturing industrial boilers. So till then, from 2005 to 2010, when I was managing this rice oil extraction plant and coconut farm, my father was relieved from the day-to-day operations. He did not had any work to do in of these things because I'm taking care. So what he started doing is he started growing new business. He was manufacturing that. And it was this industry, this industrial boiler. Why not I venture into that business also? And let me see what I can do. Is there anything that I can change? If I can stabilize something and improve the performance, that will be good. And here of the other industries, and I started taking care of the industrial boiler unit. So only when I ventured into industrial boiler unit, I started understanding how an industrial equipment is made, how a heavy fabrication is done, how industries are operating, how power plants are operating. So all these know-how started coming to me. And 2017, in one of our rice extraction plants, there was agitation by the local farmers, local public around. They sat in front of our gates and said, "No, boss, you're not going to run this industry. This industry is being highly polluting. There's a lot of smoke coming out of this industry. There's a lot of pollution which is affecting our livelihoods, and we are not going to let you run this industry. So you better change it to something else, or we are not going to let it run." So this is the kind of very tough situation that arose in 2017, and I, along with a few of our other colleagues, we went there for a peace committee meeting. We called upon all the villagers and farmers and said, "Boss, this industry and farming has to coexist. Industry, you cannot stop the industry, and we cannot damage the agriculture. So what can we do together so that the industry and agriculture can thrive together?" So we went on an audit to see what is causing damage to their livelihoods, and that's when I realized the farmers or local public were not basically against industry. They were basically against the technology. They were basically against the technology which was causing pollution, and that pollution and that equipment was basically not the industry, which is basically the boiler. So which is what we are making in the other business. So that's when I understood the link. So basically the industry and the agriculture is connected through a bridge called an industrial boiler, which is basically producing steam. So that's when I understood that, okay, the solution for industry and agriculture is not within, it is there in the equipment that I make. So what is the technology that I can do so that the industry and the agriculture gets benefited? And I sat with them and I understood their problems, and then we came up with an action plan to see that the problems are not escalating and they are contained. So the fifth image that you see down is basically the incident that happened in front of our factory. So 2017 was another revelation in terms of what I can do. So and then we started developing products which started changing the technology so that it enhances the performance of the industry as well as brings benefit to the agriculture. So in one of the peace committee meetings, there was a old farmer or old villager who sat with us and said was asking very tough questions to me especially. He was saying that you are running this industry and you are getting benefited. You are sitting somewhere in Trichy or somewhere Chennai, and whereas we are living in we are facing all the difficulties. You are making money and we are facing the difficulties, and there is nothing that I'm getting benefited out of this industry. And he was a lot of very valid questions and very sensible questions which I didn't have answers. So I started introspecting myself. What can I do to change the scenario? What can I do in terms of technology? What can I do in terms of management to change the scenario so that it favors not just the industry, not just agriculture, but also people who are dependent on both of these. So I came up with the technology called thermal reactors, and basically an alternative to boilers. So it's a car, an automobile, a passenger car which is based on internal combustion engine, and we are slowly moving towards electric vehicles. And there is also going to be a time when industries will become combustion free. We will move away from combustion to an alternative technology which is regenerative, basically which is not based on combustion technology. So I decided that I have to be a pioneer in that technology. When that technology comes into the market, I must be the first person to mass produce it and take it to the market. So we are still working on it. We are still working on it and doing a lot of R&D and a lot of changes and a lot of automation to enhance this product. So what I wanted you to observe is that in all these things, I've always I had to running the agriculture, to managing, to building up the technology, and where I'm forced to solve. There has been occasions when I literally gave up, and I said, and I told my father, my dad, that I'm going back to US. There is tougher and tougher every day. And he said, he made a very simple statement and said, if at all you're not interested, I don't mind. You can close all this business and you can to US also. So there's no way I can go back. So it's a do or die situation. Either I have to solve the problem and find a way to prosper, or I have to decimate. So there was a kind of scenario that I was stuck. So in all these things, I want you to observe that I wanted you to observe, and I also wanted to state that I have taken responsibility for things which are beyond my control. Whether it is my college, which I want to make it look beautiful, or whether it is my country, which I want to grow, or whether it is nature, which I want to build, or whether it is the people that I really care. I've always taken responsibility for the community, for the country, for everything which is not in my control, and that responsibility, the ownership and responsibility actually made me to learn a lot of things. Actually made me to learn and try to solve, find solutions to all these problems. And in the process, I became more skillful. I acquired a lot of knowledge because I'm reading every day. I'm seeking knowledge. So in the process, I became more skillful, more knowledgeable, and I became more talented. And my attitude is getting better every day. My execution capability is increasing every day. The worldview that I had before, and the worldview now, what I have now, is completely changed. My perception is being wider. Friends, so this is my short personal story that I wanted to share. I also now I wanted to get into the larger context. So is this a challenge only for me, or is this a challenge only now? This challenge is not just happening now, my dear friends. It is there since the age of hunter-gatherers. When they are hunter-gatherers, they have been fighting for the life. fighting to live, fighting to survive. So the came to Stone Age, where they started building tools out of stone, because they want to safeguard themselves. They want to find, they want to kill the prey. And agriculture is a very new phenomenon. Agriculture started only 300 years back. So it started in 1700s. So where it is only then 1700s people started settling across the riverbeds and started cultivating produce. So there was a start of agricultural era, and then from 1780 onwards, that's the start of steam engine and the emergence of industrial era. So where farmers became factory workers, and we started getting we started producing a lot of commodities, the textiles, the passenger cars, and various other equipment started coming out of the industrial age. And then what we call as an information era started in the year 1989. As most of you would know, 2000 Y2K. So there was a peak of information era. And what they now say is information era is already dead. So what is next? The next is going to be imagination age, or probably we could also call it an age of disruption. So this is the I want to see this graph. So this graph is basically a lot of inventions that happened at different points of time, or the evolution of human history. So all these innovations, all these inventions, or all disruptions, or all these have changed the it has always been in human history where this change is happening. So the disruption itself is an evolution. So this is how evolution has happened. So evolution is not just happening now. Evolution has happened since the Stone Age. So basically it could be due to a technology. It could be due to climate. It could be due to a policy, or it could be due to cultural changes. So just like to brief about technology. Say you have an internet wireless communication. So that is a technology which is completely causing a disruption, which is possibly causing a crisis to a lot of the new businesses. So climate is basically a disruption. You have a tsunami that is coming, or you have consecutive droughts, you have heavy rainfall, or you have a heavy storm that is happening. So that is basically causing a disruption. That is causing a crisis to agriculture. That is causing crisis to industries. So the climate is one part of the story which is causing a disruption, and which is part of the evolution. And then we have policy. Say suddenly government is deciding that we are going to construct expressway across India. So suddenly some produce which is happening in Calcutta is coming to Chennai for quickly. So the dynamics is completely changed now. The person who is producing something at Chennai gets obsolete, because a better product from Calcutta is coming to Chennai. So this is a disruption which is caused due to so culture. Now we have Swiggies and Zomatos. I'm sure most of us are some of us are ordering foods on delivery on food, door delivery of foods. So which is basically cultural and business, or an existing hotel business. So this disruption is not something new. This disruption is very dynamic, and it is happening every day due to these four reasons. Basically, technology is causing a disruption, climate is causing a disruption, government policy is causing a disruption, culture is causing a disruption. So basically, the cultural disruption, the technology disruption, and there are a lot of movements that are happening. Sustainability is a movement that is happening. So these are all social movements that are happening. So the technology revolution, cultural revolution, the social movements together with the different combinations, they define what is going to be the future. The future is going to be out of the permutations and combinations of these interactions that happen without our knowledge. So this is going to be the future, which is basically global convergence, which is caused due to technology because of social media, internet and mobile, cultural changes which is happening because of universal education, because of sharing sustainability movement that is happening, global justice movement, open innovation movement, social finance movement. These are different social movements that are happening. So all these together, they define the future course of human history. So we now know that technology is causing a disruption, climate is causing a disruption, policy is causing a disruption, and culture is causing a disruption. If you take just technology alone, there are these different new technologies which are coming, which are going to be matured before 2025, which is basic cloud technologies, 3D printing, renewable energy, artificial intelligence, blockchain, autonomous vehicles, advanced robotics, energy storage, advanced materials, virtual reality, and augmented reality. These are different new technologies that are coming up next. Which is basically climate, which is basically policy, and the permutation combination which is going to cause a disruption. So, my friends, disruption crisis is not something which is going to stop. It's going to be there forever, and it is going to be. What is this disruption? What is this disruption doing for us? So,
Sir, you are not audible. Sentinathan, sir, you are not audible, sir.
Sir, not audible, sir.
Sorry, everyone. I think Keynote Speaker is facing some technical glitch. I hope you all will understand that. Please have patience and wait for a minute. It will be resolved very soon. Sorry for that, because it's not in our hand. Sorry for that.
okay, just hold on, I'll check. So, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
1 second, sir. Sorry, something got disconnected.
Understood, sir.
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Just 1 second, I'll set it up again.
Sure, sir.
Share screen. The annotation appears close to the- Screen ready. Share वाली है. Share वाली है. मैंने 3 लिया. Share वाली है. Okay, so shall we continue?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Sorry
Yes,
for
sir.
the
Sure.
disruption.
No problem, sir. Please continue, sir.
Sorry for the disruption. Something went wrong in between, probably due to internet. Okay. So basically, what is all this disruption happening for? One thing is we've seen mobile cell phones which were this thick. You see the left image. From here, we have dematerialization is one. You can also see, look at a TV. The TV that we had 20, 30 years back were all big giant ones. Now we are getting into LED TV, which is laser thin. The latest ones are all just very thin portions. And even look at your laptops. The bulky ones are all gone. Now we are getting into very thin laptops. So basically, dematerialization is one. The second thing that is also why disruption is happening is demonetization. Basically, when 20 years back we had cell phones causing a mobile phone as a call, we are close to what? Zero. We are not paying for any phone calls. Everything is now free. So, which is basically demonetization. And the third thing is the democratization. Democratization is basically cars were a luxury at one. Passenger vehicles are not a luxury. Passenger vehicles are available everywhere for everyone with the emergence of Ola and Ubers. So, so disruption is happening for basically these three reasons: dematerialization, demonetization, and democratization. So where will this disruption take us? So basically, we will ultimately become a zero marginal cost to society, where the cost of any product or service Sorry again, some internet issue or something. So I'll continue with all this disruption take us. So ultimately, the cost of a product or service is becoming zero. Say, for example, if you take rice also, the rice that we buy, if you take for the if you account for the inflation that has happened, the cost of food commodities is gradually becoming negligible. The cost of a cell phone is becoming negligible. The cost of a smartphone, which we have one smartphone which is having multiple features. A smartphone is not just a smartphone, which is also a calculator, which is also a navigator, which is also an office application. So a smartphone is everything. So what used to be a luxury during kings and queens is now available for every common man, common citizen of this world. So we are gradually moving towards a zero marginal cost society. The second thing is we are moving towards an experience and an expertise economy, which is basically, what is experience is basically, you can say, we pay for an experience. We just don't buy products. Say you go to a luxury resort, you're basically buying an experience. Shopping is an experience. A hotel stay is an experience. Fine dining at a restaurant is an experience. So we are no longer just buying products and services. We are also buying experiences. The third thing is we're also moving towards an expertise economy. Today, you see a lot of YouTubers making a lot of money by teaching people to cook, or by helping people to do craft, by doing so many things. You see crores and crores of views and people are making money, which is basically helping people to become experts, which is the emergence of an expertise economy. And then we'll have, the disruption will also take us towards a regenerative ecology, which is basically the climate. Over the last 300 years, since the emergence of agriculture, we have almost collapsed our climate with a lot of industrial pollution and stuff. And so gradually we will be moving towards a regenerative ecology, where every human activity is basically helping ecology to regenerate, helping ecology, nature to develop. So that is the next that will be the next disruption that will also take place. So we are basically moving towards, what is all this disruption happening? Disruption is happening for zero marginal society, experience and expertise economy, relative ecology. So we are, if you look at this graph, we are basically in a conventional, you see, degenerating economy. We are only put a worse place. And gradually we will be moving towards a greener economy, and then we'll be moving towards a sustainable economy, and then a restorative economy, and then regenerative economy. I don't say that we'll be moving only linear. We will be doing leapfold jumps directly into a regenerative ecology, because we are sitting in a climate disruption. So this is a global footprint that has happened over the last 300 years since we started doing agriculture. Prior to agriculture, all of them, the entire planet was just forest land. Now with the human civilization, we started building roads, we started building, we started constructing buildings, we started building factories, we encroached upon the forest land to produce our agricultural produced commodities. We started grazing animals for our own consumption, and in the process, the forest land is becoming smaller and smaller, and which is actually creating a lot of problem in terms of climate. So what is going to be our next step is basically to redefine this entire engine from just being extracting and consuming. Instead, we will start moving towards a restoration, where we will start growing forest, where we will start bringing changes to the way we graze animals, the way we the way we do agriculture, the way we run our industries, the way we construct our buildings, the way we do our transport. All of this is going to have a very massive transformation. So, and finally, we will be moving towards a balance, where ecology and economy are striking a balance, and we are able to prosper with the greater wealth and lifestyle, or standard of living. So this age of the age of massive disruption. Now we have 4Gs and 5Gs, and then we have billions of people getting connected to the internet, and all of them interacting to bring in the next innovation or invention that is going to redefine the humanity. So each of this caused due to climate, technology, every disruption is a crisis situation. It is not just in a profession, it is also in business, it is also in industry, and also in personal life. So how we respond to the crisis determines the outcome that we want. So types of crisis. Is there anyone in this world who has not been through a crisis? I think God is being very fair by giving equal opportunity to everyone in terms of giving equal amounts of crisis. I mean, there is not a single individual on this planet who is not going through a crisis. I mean, there is a lot of there are people who are facing humiliation. Gandhi, for that matter, the independence movement itself emerged out of humiliation. And then there are people who are going through accident trauma. There is someone who is dejected because of business loss. There are a few people who have lost their dear ones, and there is someone who is suffering because of cancer or organ failure or autism. So I mean, there are enormous number of crises which is happening day to day in our lives. I mean, there are relationship issues. There are people who have a drunken father, who are imprisoned, who are facing imprisonment. There are people who are facing a job loss, or there are people who are psychologically breaking down because they are not able to manage the situation. So the God is being very fair. The God is being very fair by giving equal opportunity to everyone. There is not a single individual where God is giving special focus. So it is. So what? How can I respond to the crisis? Either I can ignore and just keep quiet, or I can put it on somebody else and call it as a fate. I can blame it on individuals or competition. I can complain the government. I can complain the policy, or I can complain on the corporates. I can strike the road and do an agitation or protest against something, or I can just give up and say, boss, I'm not going to do all this thing. I'm just going to have a very simple and I'm not going to do anything about this. So these are different kinds of response that any of us can do. The outcome for each of these response is basically to remain poor. So what are the different options that we have to respond to the crisis in a better way? So basically, you can have a negative attitude and just ignore and keep quiet. You can say that it is too complex for me to understand, or it is very difficult for me to solve this problem, and say you can just complain, or you can say I'm a victim of something else. The corporates and government are together are creating a life miserable for me, and you can keep complaining. Or you can have an entrepreneurial attitude and say you can look for opportunities in all these challenges and find solutions to change the situation. So basically, there are two kinds of people. One is with an entrepreneurial attitude, who grows wealth, who takes responsibility to solve the problems and grows wealth. And there is the another set of people who are negative, who are victimized, who feel reactive and complain about the society and continues to remain poor.